Professor, Department of Pharmaceutics, Pune College of Pharmacy, Bharati Vidyapit University, to chair the session. He has completed his post-graduation and PhD and has over 20 years of teaching experience, and 18 years of research experience. He has published more than 25 research papers nationally and internationally. He is an active member of FIP, APTI, and IPA. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. So, very good morning to one and all. Now, for this quality improvement program, the second session will be carried out by Dr. Uday Venkat Mateti. So, first of all, I will introduce we will introduce the speaker. So, Dr. Uday Venkat Mateti obtained his PhD degree from MCOPS Manipal University, Manipal, Karnataka in the year 2016. Dr. Mateti completed his PharmD post-baccalaureate from the same institute and B.Pharm from TPCP Kakataya University, Warangal, Telangana in year 2007. He is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Pharmacy Practice, NGSM Institute of Pharmaceutical Science, Niti, deemed to be University, Karnataka. He is a faculty advisor for ISPOR for the student chapter of the same institute. He's contributed 6 book chapters from the for the textbooks, that is the fundamentals of pharmaceutical care, evolving pharmacy profession, education, research, and beyond, and a concise textbook of drug regulatory affairs, as well as he had over 60 publications in the reputed national and international journals. He has been awarded the prestigious travel grants from the International Society for Pharmacoeconomics and the Outcome Research in 2012 and 2013 USA, and International Society for Pharmacoepidemiology in 2016 and 17 Canada, Multinational Association of Supportive Care in Cancer in 2006, European Society for Medical Oncology 2017 Switzerland, and Indian Council of Medical Research in 2017, and International Society of Hypertension in 2018 United Kingdom for his scholarly work. Dr. Mateti's specialization areas are patient-reported outcomes, pharmacoeconomics, modeling, patient safety, EBM, MTM, and pharmaceutical care.
Management. It is a broad range of healthcare service. Actually, it is provided by the registered pharmacist. In the West, pharmacist, we call it as drug expert or medication expert. And the main objective of this medication therapy management is to promote the safe, effective medication use, and in order to achieve the best therapeutic outcomes. And it is a collaborative practice in which the pharmacist has to collaborate with the physician, patient, and other healthcare professionals. But how to implement this medication therapy management in the hospitals? So the only thing is we have to do an evidence-based practice. What is this evidence-based practice? Evidence-based practice, it is the art of integrating the best evidences from epidemiological research with clinical expertises. So what are these epidemiological research? The epidemiological research are nothing but that might be the studies are conducted, might be randomized control studies, or maybe cohort studies, or case control studies, or maybe cross-sectional studies, case reports, case series. All these are epidemiological research studies. And with also the clinical expertise, The hierarchy of levels of evidences, whenever we provide any drug information or refer any resource, we should follow certain hierarchy of levels of evidences. That is, we start with systematic reviews and meta-analysis. These are the top rated studies, and then followed by the randomized control studies, then followed by the cohort studies, case control studies, case series, case reports, ideas, and or editorials and opinions. So when we go from top to bottom, the chances of bias will be increased. So it is always better to refer the systematic reviews and meta-analysis. If not, then at least you should refer the randomized control studies. If you are referring only ideas, or maybe editorials or opinions or case reports, then the chance of bias is very very high. So how to practice this evidence based practice? So there are 6 A's which are involved in practicing evidence based practice. That is, assessing the condition of the patient. What happened to the patient? What exactly happened to the patient? We have to identify the condition of the patient, then ask the right question based on the condition of the patient, then access the various evidences, that might be the systematic reviews or meta-analysis or randomized control studies or cohort studies, case control studies, case reports, case series. Then after doing the search process, then we have to apprise which one is the best resource to apply to our patient. Then we have to apply to our patient population. Then we have to see the response and audit the response. This is how we do the evidence based practice. You might have observed the this type of graphs in the systematic review and meta analysis. So in the meta analysis and systematic review, there are two types of graphs we can observe, that is forest plot and a funnel flat. And this is basically a forest plot. And systematic review or meta analysis, it is a synthesis of primary research studies. The primary research studies are nothing but as I said, these might be the randomized control studies, or maybe case control studies, or cohort studies. So we are investigating the results of these studies, number of independently conducting the research studies somewhere in the world, wherever it might be. It might be in India, it might be in United States or Canada, whatsoever. So we are trying to integrating these independently conducted research study results and come to one conclusion. So that's how we are doing. So here, for example, we have the study A, B, and C. So take it an example of this is an adverse drug reaction study. You have the intervention group and the control group, and in the intervention group, the patients developed, one patient developed adverse drug reaction out of 141, and in the control group, two patients developed adverse drug reactions out of 142 patients. And similarly in the B and C also, you can see the results: 7 by 27, 9 by 29, 1 by 100, and 0 by 100. So you can see the results of all these studies. So based on these results, we'll come to one conclusion. That is, see the vertical line, see in the horizontal line there is one represent, and above that there is an horizontal line, thick line, that is called as line of no effect. If any of these studies, the horizontal lines which touches this line, we say that the intervention has no effect. So uh, that's how it is. And see the first study, study A is touching the line of no effect. That means, see, you have to see we have the two components, the favoring to intervention left side, and right side is favoring to the control. And see, if it is touching to it, if it is going towards the right side, that means it is favoring to the control. And if it is left side itself without touching the line of no effect, that means it is favoring the intervention. So in this example, the first study is touching the line of no effect. So that means the it is favoring to the control. And the next one is the study B is also, touching the line of no effect. That means this is uh, touching the line of no effect, and it is also favoring the line of no effect. That clearly says that these all the three studies are favoring the controls. So the diamond, this one, the last one, which represents the overall effect of the study, overall effect of the all the three studies. And you can also see there are varies in the size of the square boxes, study A, B, and C. The size is varied, depends upon the weight of the study. That means if you want to take it only one study among these only three studies, then that means, see, you have to take the study B study, because the weightage of the study is very good. So the first study, the line, the horizontal line, the tips represents the 95% confidence interval. The 95% confidence interval is, it starts from 0.05 to, see, it starts from 0.05 and 5.49. And the square box, which represents the true value, that is 0.05. That means we are 95% confidence in that our true value is lies in between the 0.05 to 5.49. That's what it is. Then if you see the diamond, the tips of the diamonds, left and right, it represents the 95% confidence interval, that is 0.41, and see, the 1.87 represent the right side tip. So then the peaks of the diamond represents the true value of the study, that is 0.87. And if you see the, without seeing the results independently, without seeing the all the three studies, and the diamond is touching the line of no effect, and it is favoring the control, that means the intervention has no effect in the study. And if you see the p value, we can say the p value, if it is anything less than 0.05, we call it as we say that it's an effective or the statistically significant, right? So if you see the p value, the p value is 0.7. So without seeing the p value, by looking this diamond and line of no effect, and we can come to one conclusion, whether the particular intervention is effective or not. And there is one more component which is very important, which we all have to remember, is heterogeneity, because since all these studies are independently conducted in somewhere in the world, so there might be chances of heterogeneity. There might be variability in the data. So Indian patient population are different, and Canadian patients are different, and United States populations are different. So in order to test the heterogeneity, we apply a statistical test, and see, this I-square value range from 0 to 100, and if anything is less than 25%, that means a low heterogeneity. And if it is anything up to 50%, then we say that it is moderate heterogeneity. And if anything is more than 75%, then it is a high heterogeneity is present in the studies. So when heterogeneity is present, then we have to apply a different types of statistical test, that is maybe a fixed effect model or random effect models. So that's what it is. Then this is the second example where we have taken the means. Maybe here it is a quality of life studies. Maybe you can take it an example of quality of life study. So the intervention group, it is it is 9.77, and the control group is 10.29. See here, the first study is touching the line of no effect, and the based on the, see, the 95% confidence interval, it is 1, and the line of no effect starts from the 0, and it is crossing this line of no effect. That means the first study is favoring to the control. And the second study is, you can see again, it is also crossing the line of no effect, 0.06. Then it is crossing the line of no effect. So this study is also not favoring to the intervention. Yeah. Then the study C, which is which is favoring to the, which is not touching the line of no effect, and it is favoring to the intervention. But see, when you look at the overall results, whether the intervention is effective or not, so in that case, if you see the diamond, the tips of the diamond, the right side of the tip of the diamond is, the value is minus 0.05. That means it is not touching the line of no effect. That if you see the overall effect of these all the three studies, it clearly says that intervention is effective, it's favoring to the intervention. So if you see the even the p value, it is 0.04. That means it is statistically significant. Then you can see the heterogeneity here, I square, that is 1.4%. That means I said that if anything is less than 25%, that is low level of heterogeneity. So that's what it is from this forest plot. Then without wasting much time, I'll be moving to the medication therapy management. Why medication therapy management is very important? Because the medication, none of the medications are safe in the world, and medications can alleviate the distressing symptoms that compromising the physical and psychological well-being. That means the medications can even affect your quality of life. That might be, your physical domain or psychological domain or social domain or environmental factors. Give me some water. Then drug related problems, there might be many drug related problems. The drug related problems might be problems related to the drug selection, or maybe problems related to the drug regimen, or maybe problems related to the patient knowledge and skills. So, or maybe management problems, sorry. Yeah. Problems related to the drug selection. Sometimes there might be need of an additional medications needed, or sometimes there might be an inappropriate medications, or there might be sometimes adverse drug reactions or drug interactions, or sometimes we also notice unnecessary medications in the prescription. Or then problems related to the drug regimen, that is sometimes we see in the prescription too low dose or too high dose, or maybe irrational prescribing of the drugs. There might be there might not be a right indication, or right drug might not be there, right dose will not be there, right frequency will not be there. Then management problems related to the laboratory tests required but they have not done. And then referral to the other healthcare professionals, and lack of some supporting information in the medication records. Then the other problem why we want medication therapy management is the biggest problem is polypharmacy. Polypharmacy is any patient prescribed with more than 5 or more medications, then we say that it's a polypharmacy. Then other problem is medication adherence. Then medication errors. So this is very important component, medication errors. The medication errors are might be that might be the prescribing errors or dispensing errors or administration errors. The prescribing errors may be sometimes dose omission, or maybe improper dosage, or inappropriate strength, or improper dosage regimen, or drug duplication, inappropriate frequency, or sometimes we also notice wrong spelling or wrong route of administration. And the dispensing of the drugs, wrong drug is dispensed because of the sound alike drug or look alike drug, or all those medication errors are possibility. Then the other thing is cap. Maybe lack of knowledge and attitude practice towards the medications. So because of this, the medication therapy, implementing medication therapy management is very important, and medication therapy management play a very important role in improving the outcomes of the patient. That might be clinical outcomes, or economic outcomes, or humanistic outcomes. The spectrum of pharmacists provided medication therapy management services, that might be, adherent services, or maybe, there might be some medication related services based on the number and the type of medication, or maybe targeted medication intervention programs. These targeted medication intervention programs are, it is specially based on the disease itself. If it is, CKD patients, chronic kidney disease patients who are on hemodialysis, maybe it will be focused on, about the fluid management, or maybe, salt restriction, or maybe about the proteins or phosphate binders, all those things. Then high alert medications, the high alert medications, these medications might be the insulin preparation, insulins, or maybe, the narrow therapeutic drugs, high cost medications, and targeted patient population. The targeted population, so the MTM is specially focused, can be focused on, geriatric population itself, or maybe pediatric population. Then disease state management. So the disease state management, maybe the MTM can be focused on, chronic diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, asthma, COPD, etc. Then even pharmacists play a very important role in immunizations. This is the pharmacists provide immunization, vaccinations in their clinics, especially in Canada and United States. Then some wellness screening programs, the wellness screening programs that might be, about hypertension, or maybe diabetes, or maybe weight management screening programs. Then smoking cessation, pharmacists also play a very important role in smoking cessation and weight management programs. So this is the spectrum of pharmacist provided medication therapy management services. Then patients who may benefit from the medication therapy management services. So the first one is the transition of the care and regimen change. That means patient might have, shifted from one department to the other department, or maybe patient might have, come from the one hospital to other hospital, or patient might have, doctor might have changed the drug therapy from X drug to the Y drug, or maybe tablet to injection, or injection to tablet. So in that case, MTM services may be benefited. Then receiving the care from the more than one prescriber. This is very important component. If a if a patient visits 2-3 prescribers, or maybe patient is having, CKD, and also he's suffering some gastrointestinal problem, he has to meet a gastroenterologist and a nephrologist, because if there is no coordination among the gastroenterologist and nephrologist, then there might be chance of medication related problems. So in that, so MTM services play a very important role. And then the next thing is, as I said, the polypharmacy, that is more 5 or more medications, chronic medications, that might be the prescription medications, or non-prescription medications, or herbal products, or any other dietary supplements. Then the at least one chronic disease patients who have been suffering from at least one chronic disease, as I said, that might be diabetes, hypertension, asthma, COPD, etc. Then the next thing is laboratory values outside the normal range, that could have been caused by any medication therapy, any abnormality, normal changes in the normal values, the laboratory test, non-adherent to the medication, that might be under usage or over usage of the medications. Then the next thing is patient who may be benefited from the MTM services is limited health literacy. Patient, he doesn't have the sufficient knowledge about the his medication, or maybe about his health condition. Then patient wants or needs to reduce the out-of-pocket medication cost. Then patient has experienced or significant change in the health plan benefits or insurance coverage. Sometimes the treating physician doesn't know that this particular medication covers the insurance. So in that case, the pharmacist play a very important role, and he can recommend, no, this particular drug doesn't cover under insurance coverage. So that's how the pharmacist play a very important role. Then the patient has recently experienced an adverse event while receiving the care. In that case also, MTMs play a very important role. And patient is taking high-risk medications, including the narrow therapeutic drugs that might be warfarin, phenytoin, methotrexate, digoxin. So all these medications. Then what are the core elements of MTM? There are 5 core elements which are very important in providing the medication therapy management services. That is medication therapy review, personal medication record, medication related action plan, intervention or referral, and documentation and follow up. We'll see the first component, core component, that is medication therapy review. So in this medication therapy review, first we will assess the condition of the patient and collect the appropriate details. That might be, patient age, patient gender, patient weight, body surface area, which are more relevant in managing the medication conditions, or maybe previous allergies. Then assess the medication therapies, and we look for identifying the medication related problems. We also look for the rationality of the prescription. That might be about the right drug, right dose, right duration, right frequency, or any contraindications or any adverse drug reactions because of the particular drugs, any drug-drug interactions or any drug duplications present, or any untreated condition. Then we also focus on the cost aspects. Any high cost medications are prescribed, maybe we can substitute with the similar efficacy drugs which have the low cost. Then based on that, we develop a prioritized, customized list of MRPs and create a plan to resolve the medication related problems. Then the next thing is PMR. The PMR is another core component in medication therapy management. And in this personal medication record, so we document the prescription medications, non-prescription medication, herbal products, and other dietary supplement information we document in this personal medication record. And for example, you see here one example. It is a glyburide, tablet glyburide, the name of the particular drug and how much dose has been prescribed, and what is the indication for what purpose of this drug, and when the patient has to take, whether he has to take in the morning or noon, evening, or bedtime. Then when this particular drug has been started and stopped dose. Then name of the doctor, special instructions, whether it has to be taken with food or without food, and if it's a suspension, then we have to mention about special instruction, that is shake well before use. So this is a personal medication record, PMR, has this has to be written by the pharmacist and hand it over to the patient. So the other information which is importantly documented in this PMR is emergency contact information. That's a name and relationship to the patient and phone number. Why this emergency contact information is very important in PMR? Because so doctor has prescribed a medication to the patient, and later we found that that particular drug is not suitable for that particular patient, and immediately we want to stop that particular medication so that we can contact the patient. For that reason, we need an emergency contact information. And then primary care physician, for example, if patient himself felt that there is some adverse drug reaction or serious problem with the medication and he wants to contact the primary care physician, so with the help of this phone number, so he can contact. Or maybe he has purchased some medications and found that he missed some medication or something, then he can also contact the pharmacy or pharmacist for advice. Then allergies. What allergies? So here the this particular PMR has to be handed over to the patient, one copy, and other copy is documented in the hospital itself. That means MTM center. So the patient has to document any allergies, what happened, and how the reaction or how the allergy is developed. There are any other problems caused while taking the medication. Then whenever the prescription is given to the patient, and it's a right of the patient to ask what I am taking and what for it is, and when do I have to take, and what are the side effects, and are there any special instructions, and what if I miss the dose. So all these information, the checklist will be available for the patient to discuss with the pharmacist or a doctor. Then a patient signature and healthcare provider signature, and when this PMR has been given. So that's how we develop this PMR, personal medication record, and give to the patient. Then the next one is a medication related action plan. So this is nothing but a map. It's a patient-centric document containing the list of actions for patients to use in tracking the progress of self-management. So this map is which contains the patient name and primary care physician, pharmacist, and action steps taken by the patient, and notes, some appointment information will be there. And this is the map information. And here, this is a form which will be given to the patient, and the patient has to document the actions, what he has done and what happened. So that's what it is, medication related action plan. Then intervention and referral. So once we identify the medication related problems, then it is the responsibility of the pharmacist to collaborate with the patient, pharmacist, physician, or any other healthcare professionals, and appropriately resolve the medication related problems. Then after doing all those things, the very important thing is documentation and follow-up. The proper documentation is very, very important. This has to be done as an electronically or paper of MTM services. So the services might be MRPs, medication related problems, or PMR, that is a personal medication record, or MAP, medication related action plans, or any interventions, or improving the patient care, or the outcomes, eco outcomes, that might be economic or clinical or humanistic outcomes. So these are some of the documents which we have to document in the MTM center, that is patient demographics, basic information about address, email, health plans, then subjective observations or objective observations, assessment plan, education, then collaborations, PMR, MAP, following, and billing. Then how to in a nutshell, how to conduct a medication therapy review. So the medication therapy review is first we assess the condition of the patient, interview the patient, and create a database based on the collected information. Then review the medication for the indications, effectiveness, safety, and adherence issues. Then based on that, we have to list out the medications for medication related problems, and prioritize the medication related problems, and develop a care plan in consultation with the physician or any other healthcare professionals, or maybe directly with the patient, or maybe in collaboration with the physician itself. Then once the care plan is developed, then this has to be implemented and has to be communicated and documented suitably in PMR, maps, and documentation and follow-up. This is how we do the medication therapy management services. Then we'll see some of the studies across the globe has conducted medication therapy management services, and they found the MTM is very effective in improving the clinical, economic, and humanistic outcomes. And this is one study, that is a cost saving medication therapy management for outpatient. And this study has been conducted in Kerala. And this study was conducted for a period of 11 months on outpatient prescriptions. And in this study, they have done some interventions, that is 53% responded to stop the drugs, and the pharmacist has advised the doctor to stop the particular drug. And in 21% cases, they have asked to change the brand name, and 20% they have changed the frequency of the prescription. Because of the pharmacist intervention led and saving the some amount of money, that is unit dose cost of 4,875 rupees, and anticipated dose cost of 26,000 rupees. This is a very huge amount, and that's what the medication therapy management has been done in Kerala. This is a very recent study, 2021 study. Then this is another study, very important and study, that is economic outcomes of pharmacist physician medication therapy management for poly pharmacy elderly. And this study has been conducted in in Taiwan, and where they have divided the patients into two groups, that is MTM group and usual care group. And MTM care group, they have taken 87 patients, and usual care group 91 patients they have taken. So because of the pharmacist intervention, and after 16 months implementation period, they found there is a 1,27,000 US dollars less than the usual care group expenditure, medical expenditure. That's a huge amount in a span of 1.5 year. And impact was also seen in lipid profiles and mortality trend towards the improvement. Then this is another study which was conducted again in Kerala, the medication therapy management and innovative approach to improve the medication adherence in diabetics. So this study was conducted on 104 patients, and in the beginning of the study they found that very low level of adherence among the diabetic patients, and after the medication therapy management services, they found that there is an improvement in medication adherence from it has been improved from 37.5 to 59.5% after the intervention. And this is another study conducted in United States, evaluation of hypertension medication therapy management program in patients with diabetes. This is a 9 months community-based MTM program, and 52 patients with diabetes and hypertension, and they have divided the patients into intervention group and control group. And if you see the results of systolic blood pressure, there is a mean decrease in systolic blood pressure of 17.32 mmHg, whereas in the mean control group there is an increased level of 2.73. So in intervention group, it is systolic blood pressure is reduced, and control group it is increased. And they also applied some statistical test, and they found that there is a significant reduction in the systolic blood pressure group in the intervention group. And there is another observation in the study is the percentage of patients at goal BP. There is an increased attaining the goal BP has been significantly improved. In the beginning of the studies, the goal BP is only 16% reaching. Then at the end of the study, around 48% in the intervention group. And whereas in case of control group, and it is decreased significantly. It is decreased. In the beginning, it was 20%, and later it is 6.67% in the control group. Then this is another study conducted in United States, impact of medication therapy management clinic on glycosylated hemoglobin, blood pressure, and resource utilization. Patients with diabetes received the medication therapy management had greater HbA1c improvement compared to the controls. At 6 months, the improvement of 0.54%, and see the after 12 months it is a 0.63% improvement. Then they also observe in systolic and diastolic blood pressure were also significantly reduced in MTM group, 6.5 mmHg and 3.8 mmHg in systolic and diastolic blood pressure, which was more in control group. And at 12 months, in a MTM group, SPP and DBP were decreased 8.2 mmHg and 1.7 mmHg compared with the controls. And this is another study conducted in Singapore, the impact of medication therapy management in older oncology patients. So basically here, it's a pre and post service patient satisfaction survey was conducted in the oncology patients, 118 patients received the MTM services, and where they identified the most of the DRPs are drug-drug interactions or adverse effects or non-adherence problems, and they have identified and resolved around 161 DRPs. And after that, they have conducted the satisfaction, and majority of the patients, the satisfaction levels were very, very good. And this is another study conducted in Brazil. There's a medication therapy management services for patients with Parkinson's disease, a before and after study. So 70 patients were followed up and showing a decrease in MRPs, that is 1.6 to 0.8. The positive impact on even the medication adherent, that is 37 to 10 non-adherent patients. In the beginning, there were 37 non-adherent patients, and at the end of the study, there are only 10 non-adherent patients. And we also observed there is a one good outcome they observed is the quality of life improvement, that is emotional well-being and autonomic disorder. This is another study conducted in United States. A medication therapy management program impact on low density lipoprotein cholesterol goal attainment in Medicare Part D patients with diabetes. So 255 patients were participated in the MTM intervention group, and 56 patients were in a non-MTM group. A higher proportion of patients in MTM participant group had LDL levels less than 100 mg per DL, and when compared to the non-MTM group, 50%. Then, and also they also observed there is a significantly higher than the intervention group in control group, and in case of control group it is 90.8 mg per DL, and whereas in intervention group it is 83.4 mg per DL, and there is a significant difference between the intervention group and control group. So these are the various studies conducted across the globe on the medication therapy management, and they found that the MTM is very effective and improving the clinical, economic, and humanistic outcomes. And this is another example where they conducted the systematic review and meta-analysis. As I said, the systematic reviews and meta-analysis are the top-rated levels of evidences which we take. And the why I have given the basic information about the interpretation of the forest plot is, see here we have the two groups, the favor to the usual care group and the favor to the MTM group. See here we have the 3 studies conducted on the outcome of LDL cholesterol levels, and see the horizontal thick line, one above, that is the line of no effect, and see the right side column is favor to the MTM group. So the diamond is, and not only the diamond, they almost all the studies, all the 3 studies are crossing the line of no effect, and it clearly shows that the MTM has a significant effect on LDL cholesterol reduction. And you see the diamond is already crossed the line of no effect, and which is favoring to the MTM group. Then the other thing is achieving the hypertension goal. Here also, if you see the results of these particular studies, the first study is already crossed the line of no effect, and the second study is also crossed the line of no effect, and the third study is also crossed the line of no effect, and the diamond, which also crossed the line of no effect, and it clearly shows that the MTM has impact on the achieving the hypertension goal. And this is another graph on MTM services on systolic blood pressure. So in this study, there are various studies has been conducted at different places, and the first study is crossing the line of no effect, and which is favoring to the control group. You can see here the left side portion is here, it is now the MTM group, and right side portion is favoring to the control group, that which you have to notice here. See, the first line is crossing the line of no effect, that means which is favoring to the control group. Then the second study is, it is also crossed the line of no effect and favoring to the control group. And the other study is, see, sorry, it is not crossing the line of no effect. See, it is zero. It starts with zero. The thick line is zero. So the first study is touching the line of no effect. If it is touching the line of no effect, that means the intervention has no effect. See, you can also see the upper limit and lower limit. Sometimes, in the image, it's showing that it is touching the line of no effect, but see it, the line of no effect start with zero, but the upper limit is minus 0.03. That means it is not touching the line of no effect, but in the figure, maybe the graph problem, so it is not touching the line of no effect. That means it is favoring to the MTM. And the second study is also minus 2.261, and which is also favoring to the MTM. And the second study is also favoring to the MTM. And the final results, the diamond also is not touching the line of no effect. That means this clearly says that MTM has an effect on systolic blood pressure also. So these are the some of the evidences. I'm sure that you all excited to establish medication therapy management, but how to establish the medication therapy management? So what are the requirements you need? The first and foremost important thing is you need a qualified, a licensed pharmacist, preferably a PharmD graduate. Then a computer hardware and software, because as we have seen, there are so many data collection forms which you have to prepare. That is maybe PMR, personal medication record plan, or medication action related plans. We have to prepare, and we need a software to track the information. Then documentation, billing system, and information technology system is very, very important for establishing MTM service. Then rent for office space and storage. This is another important thing. When you don't have the own space, then you may have to rent. That's also another important. Then utilities, that is phone, fax, internet, electricity, water, and other things. Then office supplies and equipments uh, for maintaining the patient records. Then patient supplies, that is the testing equipments. Sometimes you want to measure the RBS, glucometer, or maybe sphygmomanometer. Then supporting staff, billing assistants, maybe postage. Maybe sometimes you want to send some information to the patient. So these are the some of the requirements for initiating medication therapy management services. So these are the some of the resources which you can refer for better understanding about the medication therapy management in pharmacy practice. And all these materials from American Pharmacists Association, I have taken the information, and independent MTM pharmacist medication therapy management services and medication therapy management interventions in outpatient setting, and this I have taken from AHRQ. That's all it is. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity to deliver about medication therapy management services. But in fact, the medication therapy management services in India is in infant stage. Uh, Thank you very much once again to the Pune College of Pharmacy and the Department of Pharmacy Practice. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer if any questions related to my talk. Thank you.
Thank you. So now the session is open for the discussions like questions and answers. So any participants have any questions, please start.
The participants can unmute themselves to ask any question.
Yes. So no any questions? It means Dr. Uday Mateti, you have explained very nicely that each
Thank
and
you, sir.
every participant has understand each and everything. So thank you very much for enlightening us with this medication therapy management with detailed information like core elements of this medication therapy management, then particularly review of various medication therapy management with the help of that is the case studies. So that case studies are also very much important. That will give us the idea about the various the particular effectiveness of this MTM systems. And at the last, you have also explained or given the information about the how to establishment of MTM services, what are the requirements or the what type of that is the basic infrastructure is required, and along with that various resources for the better understanding of that is the MTM. So thank you very much, Dr. Uday Mateti sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Whatever that is the information you have provided, that will be definitely helpful for all the participants, and in future also will definitely uh, meet again and again for sharing of the information and anything from your side and from our side also. Thank you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you.
Thank you once more. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much, sir. And I request everyone to kindly put on their videos for a photo. Thank you, everyone. Now let's take a break for the lunch and we'll be back by 2 for the further sessions. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.